Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to another episode of Snipe, Celly. My name is Dan Bradley. Alongside me, as always, is Joel Fernino. Joel, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I am doing fantabulistic. How are you doing, Daniel?
It has been a long day. It's been a long week, but excited to be here tonight. Excited to talk some hockey. It's going to be a good show.
It is going to be. It's going to be a fun show. I have to say, I added a list of iconic concerts to my belt this weekend.
Oh, tell the people about who you went to go see.
I went and saw Elton John.
There you go. Look at this guy.
Was my amazing mother's Christmas present of 2019, and it just now got rescheduled, or the rescheduled date just happened in 2022. It was a blast, and you top it off after that. That was Friday. Saturday saw Jackass Forever. Phenomenal, hilarious.
I am so looking forward to going to see that and just laughing my butt off in the theater. It's going to be fantastic.
It's amazing.
Well, we are very excited to introduce our special guest of the night. This is, this is the first guest. This is the first guest that we've had in our show history. We did have Luke Morris on in place of Joel for 1
I was
week
getting drunk in Florida
while you were off gallivanting around in much warmer climates. But this is our first full-time guest that we've got with both of us, and we are very excited to introduce Nate Hutchins Peterson. We call him HP.
His name's HP. You say it correctly.
I have to give the proper full title. But HP is the equipment manager for the Minnesota Mullets of the USPHL junior hockey team.
He's growing a mullet himself.
Great to have you on
working on it, actually.
He's getting ready for playoffs. It's about time.
It's about time, yeah.
How many more games do the Mullets have during the regular season?
Oh, man, let's see. We got 2, 3, 6, 8. It's about 10. 10? It's something like that.
I know the team I'm working with, the Cincinnati Junior Cyclones. Shout them out here. They have 4 games
left.
Just
4 left?
The schedule is packed. They have 4 left. David Drum's excited to see you.
Yeah.
HP.
I owe him Raising Cane's, by the way.
Oh, you do? That's right, because he found you a jersey that you were looking for.
I want Raising Cane's.
You didn't find me a Hillary Knight jersey.
I'll find you something else.
That sounds dirty.
It might be.
But HP, we wanted to kind of pick your brain here a little bit about life as an equipment manager. This is something you've been doing for 4 years now. Is that correct? This is your 4th season?
5th season with the team, 4th as equipment manager, yes.
So what was it that first got you into working with junior hockey and furthermore into life as an equipment manager?
Well, Dan, I got to pump your tires here because you got me involved with the Mullets. You worked with the head coach, Chris Walby, up on the range doing broadcasting for him. And when you moved back to the cities, you got me connected with Chris and doing PA for him. And I'm like, I don't have a voice for PA. But I did it. It was awesome. And then the next season, they had their equipment manager leave because he was one of the dads and the kid aged out. And Wobbs asked you if I would be interested in doing that. And I said, absolutely. It was a no-brainer because you and I had joked for quite a while that it would just be fun to hang around like a hockey team. I was kind of thinking of a pro team at the time, but obviously any hockey team now. And just like hand out towels, water bottles, this sharpen skates, anything. Just hang out in the locker room, be a part of the team, be with the boys and whatever. So that was what I was most excited about, and that's what it's been about for 4 seasons now, and that's just the best part.
So what sort of things do you take into account as an equipment manager? What are your kind of roles and responsibilities on game day before, during, and after the game?
Yeah, before it's a lot of sharpening skates. I mean, you can get anywhere from 0 to like the whole team skates before the game. So making sure they're sharp, making sure the skates are sharp, that's kind of the biggest thing. Fixing things like helmets, a lot of screws go bad, they get rusty or they strip out or anything like that. Tape, big one, another big one. Got to make sure they're fully stocked with tape. Water bottles, usually your scratches help with that one, but I got to make sure they're there. Just having whatever the boys need to be ready for the game. So
what like, can you kind of dive a little further into kind of like in game the urgency that you're kind of feeling, as the equipment manager during a game? Like, is there any crazy story you have about like you basically had to like run back and forth, get there's just yard sales going on during the game, sticks are breaking all over the place, anything, how is that?
Yeah, that gets crazy because obviously at the pro level, they have all their stuff like right there. But
Right.
I mean, with the juniors team, I don't have all my stuff right there. Sometimes it's across the rink, which can be kind of fun. So you'll see me running around the rink with like a pair of skate blades to sharpen that somebody lost an edge. So anytime I'll see a guy just like fall down out there, and I'll come off on the bench and I'll be like, do you need to sharpen? Do you need to sharpen? Did you lose an edge? They'll either say, yeah, I need one, or whatever. Yeah, sticks breaking is a big one too. You see I think it was last year, Crosby scored when his equipment manager handed him a stick. That's been a dream of mine, is to have one of our guys. It hasn't happened yet. No, I have given him one from the, reach behind me, grabbed one and gave it to him, but he didn't go score. So what's that about? But yeah, there is a lot of urgency in that sense because coach is always asking, are they ready to go? Are they good to go? Which it's my job to get them good to go. And the kind of the equipment manager mantra is never miss a shift. So if a guy comes off, you want to get his blades changed. If his blades are dull, you want to get them changed or sharpened before he's on for his next shift.
So with kind of that theme of being like right in the middle of the chaos of a hockey game, so much of it is, like you touched on, the prep work beforehand. And from a broadcast side, going through player names and learning all of that, I can't imagine how hard it is to try and learn what guys wear what skates. Like, how do you keep that straight when they don't have the names on them? I at least have names and numbers to go off of. You're right. Doing this just based on the color of the skates and guessing who has what. That is absolutely amazing to me.
Right. So some of the guys will write it on the bottom of their blade holder, but a lot of them just, I don't know, it's just a weird thing in my mind that I can realize what skates they have worn. I used to know, I think the first couple of years we did it, I knew everybody's skates like by heart, just by looking at them. This year I'm a little bit off. I'm missing a couple. But yeah, it's
guys
just
are wearing the same type of,
right,
like the same brand.
And I've mixed them up before going, oh yeah, this is a Bauer and this is a Bauer. Oh, they're two different ones. So, I mean, and each guy looks different. The laces are different. The, marks on the skates from like sticks and pucks. And then what the heck, blade covers, the soakers, they call them. Those will be different. So I'll be able to tell by that. But a lot of guys have it written on their skate holder, or I'll write it on there.
One of my favorite things with watching you as an equipment manager while we were working together with the Mullets was anytime, generally after the first or second intermission, is watching you sprint across the ice. You may or may not have tools in your hand, but you will go zooming across the ice. No fear, just completely reckless abandon on the bit. And it's so great to watch. If you have a video, we'll put it up on our Twitter after the show tonight.
I don't know if
I feel like I've seen one of those videos, or I would get a Snapchat every so often.
Snapchat. I think one of our boys took a Snapchat of me last year in Chicago doing it.
Yeah, we'll need to get that video so that we can tweet that out. But what kind of started that tradition? Because at showcases, it was in particular a big deal. When was the first time you decided, screw it, I'm just going to run across the ice as fast as I can and see what happens?
I think it was Chicago. We have a showcase tournament every year down in Chicago. It used to be, yeah, Joel, up by you.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
I don't have a car right now.
Or you know what that sounds like to me?
An excuse.
An excuse. You
That's
know
right.
Me well.
But this was,
you had a car to come get me anyway.
Probably 4 years ago. We were out at Leaf Center out in West Dundee. And to get to our bench, we had to go across, or I think you could go around, but it was kind of a tight squeeze. So I just took, because I always have like a bag and some tools and just things I need to carry with me to the bench. And I just started walking across the ice just because that was the easiest way to the bench. And then it just turned in, like, in between periods, I wasn't carrying all that stuff. So I just ran. And I mean, Dan, you and I playing broom ball, I know how to run on the ice. pretty good at
You're
staying on my
so
feet.
much faster than I am. It's not even close.
And it just turned into this, like, the boys loved it. Wobbs loved it. I don't think that was the same year that Dan K saw it for the first time. The Dan K show. I think that was the next year. It's just fun.
But I remember watching that and I was like, wait a minute, that's HP sprinting across the ice there. That was.
You should have given it an actual. You should have done a play-by-play call of him sprinting across the ice.
Well, here's the thing. I'm walking back up to the broadcast booth to get my headset on, so I wasn't even.
He wasn't. Yeah.
There's still a couple minutes left before we come back to the call, and I'm getting ready to put my headset on, and sure enough, there's HP just trucking his way, and
HP on a breakaway bench to bench
too. Like you kind of, rather than like run and leg over like what you see hockey players do as they skate in and hop over the boards or try to go through an open door. I mean, you slid probably a good 8 feet or so on it.
It's a good slide. I always try and go into the open door, but that kind of came back to bite me in the ass one time. The one video we have of it, Joel, of the Snapchat you were talking about, I dummied my leg right at the last second.
Remember that?
I had a huge bruise this big on my thigh.
I was just like, what did I just watch? For one, that's hilarious. Two, is he okay?
You can hear it hit the board. It's like just boom.
My favorite part is right after that, too. You hear about 15 hockey players go, oh!
The thing is, I didn't fall either, which was good. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't fallen yet, but that one hurt.
There it goes.
I know. Well, every time a player is just like, oh, how many times have you fallen? Have you fallen yet? I'm like, I'm not saying anything. Just not yet, but
I can neither confirm nor deny.
It's like a perfect game in baseball. It's like when a goaltender has a shutout going, you don't talk about it.
Yeah, you just don't say anything.
You know that's the jinx.
It's like when I text you when the Wild have a shutout going against the Hawks, and I go, you guys are going to totally shut us out.
And what do you always get from me in response?
A bunch of middle fingers emojis.
A bunch of middle finger emojis?
Yeah. Yep, that's usually it.
Hey,
we have a question here.
Oh, we do.
For HP. What piece of equipment or what product do you use the most in your role?
Okay.
The obvious one is a skate sharpener, and I use a Wasoda 911 skate sharpener. It's this little like tabletop thing. But I think the most important one is probably a screwdriver. So many helmets are loose. Boys are always turning to me going, can you tighten this? Can you tighten this? That or a knife. Or I just found a new product I just found is a scratch awl. I don't know if you know what that is.
Not familiar, no.
It's just a long, like thin piece of metal that you use to kind of like scratch wood or scratch metal for a mark, and it helps take the blades out. Like Bauer blades they're on a trigger, and then they like peel out of the holder, and they give you a tool, but that tool doesn't always work the best. So I can't remember where I saw it first, but another equipment manager I follow on Twitter, I saw him use it. So I just bought one and I used it for the first time last weekend. It's the greatest thing ever.
That's excellent. I never would have thought of something like that either. Like the idea that you would need a special tool to pop the blade out beyond just the release that comes with it. So great question there. Well, HP, if you don't mind, we're thinking about including you on our Wednesday night pick segment here, and you just joined us on Sharp Rank, so we want to keep you on for the rest of the show, really.
Sure.
But
if you
seems
are
a good spot to segue into picks, so we're going to get your name added on here next week.
I hope it goes better than my Sharp Rank because I'm terrible on Sharp Rank right now.
We'll get you up there. You just started out, so we'll pump those numbers up. We'll get you going.
I've been getting my ass kicked lately. I'm a little annoyed.
You're still top 10 though.
It's because I keep shit talking you.
Yeah, you gotta quit that.
Usually it works.
Well, last week, what really killed us was we had a couple of games that we both got wrong. We both picked the Caps and they lost. We both picked the Islanders and they got shut out. Which actually, that was the first time. I believe that was the first shutout in Seattle Kraken history.
I think you're right.
Against the Islanders at the Islanders. So really, just a weird week. Joel, you and I both went 2-3 on the picks last week.
It's been my worst week. That's my only lose. No, sorry, that's my first losing week since we started this thing. And how many? What episode is this? 14? 15?
This is 15. Oh, wow. Episode 15.
Look at you guys go.
Welcome to episode 15, HP.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. HP, we're going to start with you on this one, and I think it's pretty appropriate because this covers another member of the panel here. The Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5 goals at minus 140 at the Edmonton Oilers minus 1.5 goals at plus 120. HP, I know where your heart is at with this pick. It is not in taking Chicago, but we're looking at the odds objectively, just making the pick with your head instead of your heart. Who are you taking here and why?
I do have one question for you before we proceed. So okay. I have to ask for any new gamblers or odds, whatever you want to call it, on listening to this. The minus 40 and plus 120, what does that mean exactly? I know the plus 1.5 and minus 1.5, but
so for example, minus 140 means that on this particular market, the Blackhawks would be favorited because they have the 1.5 goal bonus. So in that instance, you would need to bet $140 to win $100. You get a payout of $240. For Edmonton, because you are taking away a goal and a half from Edmonton, so they're already starting the game minus a goal and a half, if you want to think about it that way, they have to win by that much more. Now, because that's harder to do, they get an odds boost in their favor. So a $100 bet would win $120 and pay out $220. So it's proportionate. So you don't necessarily have to bet a full $100 or any amount like that. And whatever you do will be scaled to that. Right. It's just a nice even number to use for odds.
Also, most apps kind of hold your hand while you're making the bet too. Like most of them, you can go on whatever app you want to use. Let's just say you're using DraftKings or something right now. Like you go on there and you pick this game, and then you just go ahead and say, like, I'm going to bet $10, and it'll tell you based on your pick what your potential payout is based on a win. So you don't have to sit there and do the math if you don't want to.
Right.
We should mention, by the way, that we are looking for sponsors for this segment. So if you
perfect segue you picked up when I was laying down
the sportsbook, we would love to have a sponsor for this segment. So your name here, Wednesday Night Picks, or Snipe Celly Wednesday Night Picks, brought to you by
your company here.
We can make that happen.
Insert your sportsbook app name here.
So HP, let's get into picks here. Blackhawks plus 1.5, Oilers 1.5. Where are you going and why?
I think I'm taking the Oilers. I think they've kind of been hot lately. Just going into the All-Star break after the disastrous month they had. So I'm looking for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl get going here. So I'm taking the Oilers and
Edmonton.
A cover.
Yep, Edmonton 5-4-1 in their last 10. They're on a winning streak. They are not playing yes, they are. They are
playing tonight.
They are playing tonight. That'll start in about 10 minutes here. They are hosting Vegas tonight, which that could be
tough.
That could
be. I didn't realize they were on the back end of a back-to-back.
Any Sharp Rank users listening as we speak right now, I actually, what am I in sixth place right now? I actually picked the underdog. I picked Vegas to win that one.
You picked Vegas to beat Edmonton at
tonight.
Edmonton.
Yeah.
I did the same.
I can't remember who I picked in that one. But anyway,
Joel, how about you? You're not picking against your hometown team here, are you?
Well, my hometown team very much pissed me off last week.
Oh yeah, we got to put a pin in the pick segment. Joel, I'm just gonna put this banner down. We'll get you full screen here, buddy. We'll give you some FaceTime, and we'll just hang back and let you vent here.
Tee off on
my guy.
Look, that town hall ended up being pretty much Actually, it ended up being on Twitter for that entire night. It was the number, I want to say 4 or 5 thing trending around the world. That town hall was a disaster of a nuclear, wasteland. If I don't know what you can call it, but that was horrible. Even though it started off very well with Danny Wirtz, Rocky's son, and Jamie Faulkner, the president of business ops. It started out great, and then the spoiled old man billionaire brat of a owner that we have in Rocky Wirtz decided to take every piece of hard work that the rest of the organization had done and, like you just said, put a pin in it. let's take 20 steps backward, and that's it. That's all we're gonna do. Luckily, I think Danny and Jamie have done a good job since then to kind of save face a little bit, but now they have a hell of a lot more work to do, even though the last few months involved a hell of a lot of work. They sound like what they're doing is promising, but yeah, that was ridiculous. A bunch of people sounding off on Twitter on it. I mean, it is what it is. Look, it was the most tone deaf, childish thing I've ever seen from an adult, but not just an adult, but a adult businessman that owns $1 billion corporation, like a original 6 NHL franchise. It was ridiculous, and I think this is going to happen, but I don't know if it'll happen publicly. He needs to step aside, let his son continue the hard work and the great work he's been doing. Let Jamie start taking over too. They're both great. They both have a way with words. It was just ridiculous. I was so just pissed.
And Danny jumped in, I believe. I think
exactly.
You're right. He started to
got cut off.
Yeah, everyone's heard the audio or watched the video by now, so I won't, bore you with that. But yeah, exactly. Danny and Mark Lazarus, who was the first one to get obliterated.
Yeah, he asked the question that set Rocky off,
and so did, I can't remember the other.
Phil Thomas, I think.
Phil Thomas, thank you. He's for the, I think he's for the Tribune, if I remember correctly, for Chicago. But yeah, they both got wrongfully obliterated by Rocky. And yes, and here's the thing, Lazarus's question was actually directed to Danny. So you actually hear Danny, like, you see him in the video, like, go to open his mouth, and that's when Rocky steps in. And then, like you just said, Danny then says, like, well, hey, I can take that. And he literally just shoves him off. And I'm just like, and it's like, I get it. Like, I know, like, I think Anson Carter on the TNT broadcast was like, I would have liked to have seen Danny like, hey, Dad, I got this. And you know what? I do too. I would have loved to have him been like, hey, old man, shut your ass up. I'm going to take this question. But it is, you back off the mountain a bit. For one, it is his dad. For two, it technically is still his boss. So it's, you can't really, if you get pissed at your boss, no matter what they do, and whether it's family or not, I don't know if any of us would have done the same thing, right? Like, hey, Joey coming in. Thank you, Joey. Rocky handled it awfully, absolutely. But then again, son's fixing father's mistakes runs in the family. You beat me to it, Joey. I love it. Danny tried to answer and since has spoken with a lot of media members to attempt to fix it. And all those media members are going to bat for Danny too, publicly. He since released like a lot of the stuff he answered the question, just sadly he didn't get to answer it live during the town hall when that stuff was supposed to get answered. But yeah, exactly. Ooh, David coming in. I thought the news about the Ice Hogs firing was going to be the topic, but the Rocky video was embarrassing too. Yeah, well, yeah, the Ice Hogs firing that we just saw.
That's bad too.
And I mean, I hate to say it like this. That just could happen literally anywhere. It just so happens that it's going to happen at an organization that's already dealing with stuff like that. But that situation, I'm actually going to, like, they handled that correctly. So I think that was a nice little mini half step that shows you, like, hey,
mini win.
Yeah, exactly. It might be a very microscopic win, but it is definitely, I considered it a win. Obviously it's not a win when situations like that happen. That's just uncalled for, like, seriously. But again, I would say anyone that's gonna, say anything like that, like, you should be fired immediately. And that's exactly what happened. It happened in 2014, didn't get reported until October of last year. He was fired less than a month later. So, that's a mini win. I think that's at least something that shows. But anyway, yeah, they have a lot of work to do. They already did, and they did a lot of it, but a lot of it got canceled by Rocky being a childish billionaire, spoiled little brat. And he needs to step aside. And exactly like Joey said, it runs in the family. History is repeating itself. We thought Rocky was the savior over his father because his father was hated in this city for years for not being able to connect with the fans, living in the 1950s when it was 1990 into 2000 and whatever. And, Rocky took over, had all the success. And now that, the on ice product isn't good anymore, he's starting to get frustrated. We can have a whole other episode on Bettman's comments. He's a
clown.
Piece of work.
I mean, that's a nice word for it, in my opinion. But
Well, this more or less turned into
first 5-minute major for the Oh yeah, it turned into a 5-minute major.
Pretty close. I have a stopwatch going, and 4:53 was the
Look stopwatch going.
So wait,
I have 4 seconds left.
Okay, go for it. 5. Ready?
Danny is going to make sure history is not repeated. Danny is going to lead this team back to where it was as the gold standard of the NHL.
Okay, that's
and Jamie. Sorry. Yes. Anyway,
well, I guess it's really not, because we still have to go back to picks here.
No, that's fine. I have my pick. I don't even. Yes, I'm picking against.
So after all of that,
after that 5-minute major,
I am taking a timer.
I love it. After that totally inadvertent 5-minute major, we had the extra time. I am absolutely picking against my team because our defense is non-existent, and also the GOAT that is Fleury has not been very good lately. Coming into the All-Star break, Edmonton -1.5 is easily my pick.
I really don't know here. I really, really don't know here, because Edmonton's defense has been just putrid all season.
It's so bad.
If I can sway you, Taves will not be back. He's still in concussion protocol.
There is that.
There was another injury too. I can't remember who it is right now.
Although Taves has like 2 goals in the season, right?
Yeah, but he's got like
he's
18 assists.
Really
he's still
a goal scorer,
he's back to his normal playmaker style as opposed to doing both.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So Lankinen is also out, expected to miss the next 3 games. So it presumably would be Fleury between the pipes, unless maybe Colin Delia is no.
It's gonna be Fleury.
For all 3.
It'll be Fleury.
Coming out of the break, it's gonna be Fleury tomorrow night.
I really don't know here, because here's what gets me is, as good as McDavid and Draisaitl have been this season, Edmonton's goal differential on the season 4. Edmonton has a +4 goal differential this season. I mean, 142 goals, second most in the division, but they've also allowed 138. So it's not.
Koskinen is so bad.
He is.
I had him in fantasy for a short while and dropped him like a bad habit.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, the Blackhawks 8-12-4 on the road. Edmonton 12-8-0 at home. Yeah, I'm gonna go Edmonton here. We'll go consensus pick. Everybody's taking Edmonton by 2.
You just got to remember, our defense is just not there. We don't have enough defense to hold off scoring like McDavid, like Draisaitl. Like it's.
Joel, I gotta ask, how are you gonna feel if Duncan Keith scores a goal tomorrow night?
Oh, I am going to be ecstatic for him.
Really?
I want him to do that. I love Duncan Keith. I want him to score on us. Plus the chirping that he's going to be doing, just like with Kane and pretty much just Kane. That's pretty much all that's left. Maybe DeBrincat a little bit too. Obviously, they were teammates for a little while, so I think that's going to be fun. I would love to see him score.
He'd be singing a different tune if he was on the Blues, though.
You're damn right. I'm about to burn my Saad jersey.
Oh, that one's a stinger. Well, at least Chicago will get some representation in the playoffs with Saad.
Also, we were talking about Taves being a factor. He's pushing a near 60% face-off percentage this year. So
I'm sure he's good on the dot.
58.6 win percentage.
That's always been a strong part of his game.
Yeah.
It'd be a good trade deadline pickup for somebody.
No, you shut your whore mouth.
I just wanted to see what you had to say.
He will retire a Blackhawk, and if he doesn't, I will do the cinnamon challenge live on one of these episodes.
Ooh.
Wow.
Somebody write that down.
If Jonathan Taves is traded at this trade deadline, I will do the cinnamon challenge on an episode.
Cinnamon challenge is hard too.
I've done it before and it's awful, and I was younger, so I hope I don't die.
So just looking at his contract here,
it should be up in 2 years now, right?
2 years. So yeah, I guess probably not this year.
most likely next year.
Chicago,
if he were to get traded, it'd be next year.
The thing is we're not going to trade him because we're not going to get back what we could have gotten, back in 2017 or 18. Like there's no point.
Here's the thing, though. You'd almost have to include a third team like Arizona to retain. So kind of like what we saw at last year's trade deadline, where Chicago would send him to Arizona first. Chicago retains 50%. Arizona retains another 25, and then to wherever the destination is.
He's got a no movement clause. He's not going to let that happen.
He could. You never know.
He doesn't want to go to Arizona.
Nobody wants to go to Arizona.
But Arizona doesn't even want to be in Arizona.
I'm not saying that he's going to go to Arizona. He's not going to play to Arizona. It's going to be the type of deal where just for numbers only, for the books, it's Taves gets traded to Tampa Bay because they were the ones who did this last year. So Taves to Tampa Bay by way of Arizona, where Arizona would retain 25%. Hawks retain 50%, and then Hawks would get a ton of draft pick compensation in there as well.
Maybe, but again,
that's how you'd have to work to make that move work. It's not saying that Taves would play a single game in Arizona or Montreal or whatever team has a ton of cap room and is looking to acquire assets at the deadline. It's not a hard. That's the route he's going to take. Okay, moving on.
My captain is staying here anyway.
Second pick of the night, the Vegas Golden Knights plus 120 at the Calgary Flames minus 140. Vegas, as we mentioned, is playing tonight. Calgary is not. So once again, we have team coming in fresh versus team coming in on the second night of a back-to-back. We'll go to Joel first on this one. Joel, between Vegas and Calgary, who are you taking?
Oh, man, I was hoping you wouldn't pick me first. This one's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about this all day, too, looking at, like, their last 10. Yeah, I can't really go on who's hot. Like, this is the first, this is going to be the second day out of the All-Star break. I'm pretty sure I made my pick in Sharp Rank already. I'll probably stick with, let's do it for the bit. We're going to do it for a bit, not the bit, a bit. We talked about our second teams. I am a Vegas fan, secondary. I'm going Vegas. Vegas is going to take them.
Okay. HP, how about you?
I think I'm also going Vegas. And because they're playing tonight and shaking off the rust from the All-Star break, I think Calgary is going to come in a little cold off the All-Star break hangover, if you will. So I'm going Vegas.
Wait, HP, what's your Sharp Rank record? Or what's your ranking?
96.
Crap, I might want to switch my pick.
Well, even before HP said that, I was going to go ahead and take Calgary, but that all but further pushes me over the edge. Calgary quietly hanging around.
Oh, no. I just looked on Sharp Rank at 141 now.
That's bad. No.
Okay, wait. Is it too late to switch?
We figured this out, though. That's because while the games are in progress, they are recorded as
wins and
a
losses.
Loss until you win.
Okay.
So everybody sees a dip in their number while games are in progress, but as soon as the games are final,
okay,
you'll bump back up or down accordingly.
Sorry, I blew up.
It doesn't do that for money line picks, though. I would assume, right?
It does. It does for both.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, yep, I knew it did it for puck line and over under, but right, whatever.
Yeah, it counts everything as a loss until you make that push. Is at least what I found.
That's fair. I mean, Calgary is on a 3-game win streak coming into the break. So
yeah, they're playing hot. They have only played 42 games, so they have games in hand on the rest of the division. 3 points behind Anaheim and the Kings for second place. 5 back of Vegas. I think this is going to be a really intriguing game. I think this is going to tell us a lot about Calgary down the stretch. And before too much longer here, Big Horse is still in the barn for Vegas. Jack Eichel is going to be back anytime now. He's not coming back for this one. To the best of my knowledge, he's not on this trip.
He had his first. He had his first no contact, or he had his first
he's out of his no
contact practice. Yeah, he's out of his no contact jersey as of today.
Did I see a tweet that said? Oh, sorry, DB.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Did I see a tweet that said they need to move like 4 or 5 million in cap space just to activate him?
They do. They are in a tight salary cap situation, and I'll get you the details on that in just a moment.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people tweeting about it that were like, "Don't help Vegas."
Anticipated return for Eichel, according to Puckpedia, which another great hockey resource. Love giving them a shout out when we can. They have Eichel as expected to return Wednesday, February 16th. So it's possible that next Wednesday night,
he's coming.
When we're making our picks, that could be a factor. So Vegas's projected cap hit right now, because of the way that long-term injured reserve works, is 91 million. The cap is 81.5. They're at 91.8. So they're 10.3 over the cap. They will get a little bit of room. It's really kind of weird how it works out. But looking at the players who would be around 4.5 mil, who they potentially could move if they were to go that route, it's guys, Evgeny Dadonov at 5 mil even for the next 2 years, who really kind of hasn't been.
That's a horrible contract
that Vegas thought it would be. Yeah,
that's bad.
Well, Ottawa signed him to try and get him to try and get to the cap floor. He has 21 points in 44 games, which not bad, but really not the impact type of player that we thought he might be after a 65-point season and a 70-point season in Florida. Really just hasn't been the same kind of factor. And even being back with a winning club, Dadonov potentially a piece that could be moved in there. But a lot of these guys, Stone has a full no move. Pacioretty, Carlson, Marchessault all have a modified no team or no trade list. Marchessault is 8, Carlson 10, Pacioretty 10. Those guys aren't going to go anywhere. Other than that, Shea Theodore,
Petrangelo's 8.8 mil cap hit.
Right, but he's also got a full move.
He's not moving.
He's not going anywhere.
Braden McNabb, he's only making 2.5.
And there's no way they could trade Shea Theodore to make this work. So really, I think the only piece that they could potentially move here would be Dadonov.
William Karlsson.
No,
I don't see that happening.
No, not with
I'm just kidding.
Not with the already having the 10-team no trade, but also 15 points in 31 games this season. He's been in and out of the lineup. Never really come close to that 78 points in 82 games that he had his first season in Vegas. I mean, it's kind of been downhill ever since that first magical run there. So I'm curious to see how Vegas handles that cap situation.
You know what I have heard rumblings of? It's not. I don't even think I would consider this smoke, but obviously the biggest trade talk chips here is Marc-Andre Fleury, and I had seen and heard some things. I wouldn't put any smoke to this yet about Fleury getting traded back to Vegas, which would then, I don't know
how.
Like they're already so far over the cap that, I mean, even taking on Fleury, who not making he's still got a 7 mil cap hit.
He does?
Yeah. I'm looking at Cap Friendly right now. He still has that 7 mil cap hit.
We would not have signed him to a 1-year, $7 million deal. I'm sorry, we traded for him.
Yeah, you traded.
You traded for him, and that's
okay. Never mind.
What was left on his deal?
Then never mind. Never mind. That takes away what I was gonna say. I was gonna go hot take trade, and they just swap Leonard and Fleury.
The problem for that would be that's also taking on more cap hit.
Yeah, I forgot he had a 7 mil
even though the actual dollars aren't quite 7 mil. Yeah. I'm taking Calgary in this one. You guys both went Vegas, so I'll be different here. I'll take Calgary. And then our third pick of the night. Yes, you knew this was coming. Arizona Coyotes for the bit. Coyotes for the bit. That's what we're going to put on the shirt. Coyotes for the bit.
Can you
Arizona Coyotes plus 1.5 goals, minus 130 at the Seattle Kraken, minus 1.5 goals at plus 110. HP, it might be a case of the first one is free, because last week I ran with Arizona, and that's the first time that anybody's picked them on this show. and that didn't turn into a winning pick. So maybe it's a first time as a charm type of deal. Do you have any confidence in Arizona tomorrow night heading into Seattle to take on the Kraken?
I have zero confidence in them, and that's why I'm picking them for the bit. I'll pick them for the bit.
You have zero confidence they're going to win, and you're still picking them?
Yeah.
Wait, zero confidence in the Coyotes?
In the Coyotes.
He has zero confidence in the Coyotes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Kraken haven't been good either.
Well,
Kraken have been bad this year.
I think like you, Dan, I picked the Kraken to be a play. Did you pick the Kraken to be a playoff team? I don't remember.
I was the only one that didn't pick them to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I picked them to be a playoff team, and that's coming back to bite me. Yeah, I'll stick with Arizona for the bit, and only for that reason, because this could be a pretty bad looking hockey game, I think.
Yeah, we get some riveting hockey for the bit. Yeah, hey, chop, Dan. Make those T-shirts. Let's go.
We'll get there. They're coming. Joel, Coyotes are Kraken.
Man, I always love going all in on do it for the bit stuff, especially because I'm already, I'm 1-0 when I picked the Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
I won last week by deciding to not do it for the bit and pick against the Coyotes. Who were they playing last week again? I forgot, because I feel like it was an easy. It was like a very easy pick, wasn't it?
Last week it was Calgary, so you picked
Calgary,
and they won.
They
won 4-2.
That was easy. This one is not so easy.
No,
the Kraken are also pretty terrible. I mean, they're 5-5 in the last 10. Arizona.
Here's the difference: is Seattle has scored 121 goals this season. Arizona 99. Arizona is the one of 3 teams that does not have 100 goals this season.
God, that goal differential.
Can you guys quick name the other 2?
Montreal.
Say that again.
Montreal is one of the 2. The other 2 teams that don't have 100 goals. So Montreal is one of the 2.
Buffalo.
Not Buffalo.
Vancouver.
Not Vancouver.
Oh God, is it us?
No.
Oh, okay, thank God.
No, you're. Let me take a look here.
But you said
Chicago is at 112. So
the Coyotes
clear by a somewhat reasonable margin.
Oh, dude, it's easily Colorado.
Oh yeah. Colorado hasn't scored 100 goals in the last month, so yeah, it's got to be them.
Yeah,
it's got to be for the season. No, it is the New York Islanders.
Oh,
yeah, the Islanders with 93, a league worst goals for total. That is really bad.
That's
bad. Islanders.
Islanders fans, I have a hard truth for you to swallow. It's a big pill. You're not making the playoffs.
Not unless they figure something out real quick here.
Did everybody and their mother pick them to make the playoffs?
Well, of course. I mean, the Eastern Conference runner-up I guess not conferences for last year, but semifinal team each of the last 2 years. One of the final 4 teams standing, and they are 21 points behind Washington for 4th in the division.
Oof,
with only 2 games in hand. So that's
you're not catching them.
I feel like this has got to be like the worst Barry Trotz team Barry Trotz has ever had.
It really has. And I mean, you see how much they miss Nick Leddy, how much they miss Jordan Eberle, just because those guys fit that system so well that it's just such a big change this year. Goaltender Sorokin hasn't been up to par. He hasn't made that same progression that you would have liked to see. Tough season for the Islanders.
Yeah, really ugly.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Right. Back to the pick. Oh my God, it is tough. I really want to do it for the bit. I really do.
Do it. Do it for the bit.
I'm doing it for the bit. I'll go Arizona. Oh wait. Oh, I didn't even realize we were doing just the gold. I didn't even realize we were doing puck line.
Arizona crossed the goal in half there too.
Oh, okay. I didn't even. Yeah, Arizona to cover. Arizona to cover. Do it for the bit.
All right, I'll stick.
See, now the pressure's on, because if I agree with you, then all 3 of us are riding for the bit. Coyotes for the bit. If I go different, 8 of our 9 picks for tomorrow are the same. So there's pressure here.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing the same. Like, yeah, we can argue. It doesn't have to be on picks, though.
You can't peer pressure me. I'm grown. Marshawn Lynch, baby. The greatest quote.
I'm grown.
I'm grown.
Man. Oh, this is tough. I was going to go Arizona, and then you guys both went Arizona. This is pressure.
I just want to tell you that when Arizona is involved in our picks on the puck line specifically, they are undefeated.
I'm
pretty. You can double check, but I'm pretty sure when we go off the money line and go straight to the puck line and Arizona's involved, I'm pretty sure when they've always covered.
I'll give this another 30 seconds. If we get one viewer to comment Coyotes for the bit, I will lock in Coyotes for the bit, and we'll get all three to do it.
Do we start that now?
Yeah, so we'll put 30 seconds on the clock starting now.
Oh man. What do we talk about to kill 30 seconds?
Well, we can talk about why I think Seattle might have a shot here. They're scoring more goals this season, so there is that. Coyotes 3-7-0 in their last 10 games. It's on the road this season. On the road, Arizona 6-14-3, Kraken 9-14-2 at home. It's close. It's really close. There we go. We got it. The comment is in at. You're not going to believe this.
Is it at 30 seconds?
How much time did I say?
You said 30 seconds.
I said 30 seconds. We got 29.68.
David getting that internet coming clutch.
Attaboy, David.
We're all in. Coyotes for the bit. Coyotes plus 1.5. All three of us are on the same. So to recap the picks, all three on the Coyotes, all three on Edmonton. Joel and HP taking Vegas. I am taking Calgary. We got a little bit more time here. So Joel, you introduced the Would You Rathers.
Let's go.
And we have some good ones. HP, you came up with one this morning.
I did.
And we'll start with HP on this one. You want to go ahead and ask your Would You Rather question, and the first guest Would You Rather in the history of Pod Snipe Celly. It's all yours, my friend.
Take it away, sir.
Yeah. So I heard this one on a podcast, so I can't take too much credit for it. Actually, I won't take any credit for it.
No, you're going to take full credit for it.
No.
That's what we do here. We take credit for other people's work.
We don't plagiarize. We improvise and adapt.
There we go. So the whole thing was, would you rather blank or live in Wisconsin? Being from Minnesota, we don't like Wisconsin.
Chicago doesn't either.
Joel can
That's
relate.
right. We have that in common. So this one was probably my favorite. They asked a couple. This one was my favorite. Would you rather take a razor scooter to the ankles or live in Wisconsin? And I'm taking the razor scooter to the ankles.
I actually just felt that sensation in my ankle for
a second.
Right? It's
the worst feeling.
If this is what it feels like to have PTSD, I really understand now.
I don't think that's quite the
ankle.
same.
Like when it would get like the back of the ankle too.
Yep.
Like where you've got nothing. It's just right on the Achilles.
What about the shin?
Shins are
They're not that high though.
The Achilles.
I'm taking it to the shin.
Worse.
It's pretty bad.
It's bad.
Now, wait. Did you say it happens to you once a week?
Well, I said you could take it. You could take it there if you wanted to say, take a razor scooter to the ankles once a week or live in Wisconsin, or just one time.
I mean, I think for the sake of making it a little bit of a tougher decision, stick with the once a week.
Yeah.
So like Monday at like 4 p.m. All right, razor scooter, let's go. And it's not like a week. Like you're not doing it to yourself. I want like
somebody else is doing it to you.
I want like John Cena coming to my house and slamming my shin with a scooter.
Can I pick like a border city like Superior or Hudson?
Yeah.
It's right on the border, so I'm still close, but just technically in.
Yeah,
I'll pick Wisconsin because my ankles are not good, man.
As tough as it is, and obviously as much as both you guys as Vikings fans, as me as a Bears fan hate Wisconsin, I would definitely rather live in Wisconsin than have that happen. I'd love to live in like Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a cool city.
Has its perks. I'm taking the razor scooter.
Also cheese curds. Just for
cheese
life.
Curds are good.
Cheese curds
spotted cow or
New
Glarus in general.
There.
So I'll take that.
Oh man.
Also, housing there is actually pretty cheap, but I'm not going to get into that on a hockey podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I too. If it was once a week, I'll take Wisconsin, but again, in a border town where I can.
And Hudson are superior.
All right, so Dan and I we're going to go to Wisconsin, and HP is taking that
race
to the ankle.
I stand firm on Wisconsin.
That a kid.
All right, okay. All right, now we got two more.
A couple more. Hit them with.
So one of these was actually submitted by HP.
What?
A while ago. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. This was submitted by Joey. Good old Joey. He submitted it basically right after last week's episode, so it's been a long time. So now, I forgot who submitted it. Whoops.
Oh, good.
Anyway, Joey, shout out to you. This is a good one too. So for our favorite teams, obviously for you two, the Wild, for me, the Hawks, would you rather add? It's actually a good topical question. Trade deadline's coming up, in a month?
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So would you rather add a star defenseman or a star forward to your team?
Ooh, that is a good one.
And he didn't, obviously it's general. We could take it a step further and say either this season based on how your team is doing, or just in general, let's just say both of our teams are, contenders this season. Would we rather, based on the roster right now, add a star forward or star defenseman? Obviously, we are not a contender. You guys are. We are not this year, but I'll just pretend we are for the sake of the would you rather.
HP, you want to start on that one?
Sure. I think I'd rather have the star forward. I'd rather have the guy scoring goals.
You have Kirill Dalabil.
I mean, right. And the Wild are looking really good this year in that aspect. They're scoring goals like they've never have before, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty historic.
It's pretty historic in goals. But
time.
I've always been a defense wins championships.
That's an understatement, buddy.
Right. I've always been a defense wins championships kind of person, but in hockey, you gotta put the puck in the back of the net to win games. So I'm taking the star forward.
Dan?
I think I'm going to go completely different on that one and go star defenseman. Look at Boston picking up Taylor Hall at the trade deadline and then, not making it very far. And then look at Tampa Bay picking up
Taylor Hall did his part.
Kind of.
He did.
He did during the regular season, but he kind of disappeared during the playoffs.
Yeah, he didn't do much.
Playoffs.
Yeah, I guess they all disappeared pretty quick. But then I look at a team like Tampa Bay that already had a lot of pieces in place, went out and added David Savard for depth, who not a star defenseman, but a fits the role type of defenseman. And Tampa goes through and wins the cup, and Savard played a pretty big role in that. For me, I think it does have to be the defenseman. I think good defensemen are harder to come by. That's not to say that, just anybody is going to go out there and score goals. And you're not, a team that is competing isn't going to go pick up an Austin Matthews, an Alex Ovechkin type scorer at this point, but they might go out and get somebody like a Phil Kessel or Claude Giroux, who later in their career, but good offensive player. Claude Giroux, 100%, he's getting moved at the deadline.
Future Minnesota Wild centerman.
What a show he put on at the All-Star game, too.
What the hell do you have to give up to get Claude Giroux?
Yeah, they got assets. They got picks. They've got, according to Scott Wheeler with The Athletic, the number 3 prospect.
Top 3 prospect. I saw that article today.
NHL. So
all right, are you willing to sell the farm to run for a cup this year?
No. And Billy G wouldn't do that to us.
Question for when we have more time to pick that apart.
Yes,
and HP will have you back on for that discussion too.
Yes.
But back to the forward versus defenseman question. I think it's easier for a forward to adjust to the systems than it is for a defensive player to make that adjustment, which is why you don't necessarily see defensemen do as well when they're moved at the deadline. And that's just eye test. I have no numbers to back that up. I would love a longitudinal study at some point of how trading forwards and defensemen at the deadline compares before and after the trade. But I think HP is right. You do have to score goals in the playoffs. But if your team is really looking for it, you can either add a star forward or a star defenseman. give me a defenseman. They're going to be on the ice more just by nature of the position. A good defenseman can elevate all three aspects. A good forward, if they get shut down on scoring, that can really cause problems for somebody who is like a true scoring forward. So for me, it's defense. Then there's Joel, who wants to add a goalie at the deadline no matter what.
What?
No, I just had to try and segue you.
I could go crazy, sure, but no. I absolutely am adding a defenseman. I mean, it for me, it's a no-brainer, but also, again, it's for your favorite team. My favorite team always has star scorers, so and I mean, again, to your point too, like defense does win championships, and I've witnessed it firsthand, especially in that 2015 run. We had we had Duncan Keith, Chalmerson, and Seabrook, and also Oduya stepped up, and we ran basically 4 defensemen for almost half of those playoffs, because everyone else was getting injured or they just weren't that good, and it still worked. But when you have 3 all-star defensemen, one of them a first ballot Hall of Famer and potentially one of the best to ever do it, I would much rather have that. And as soon as Duncan Keith left, look what happened. Like, yeah, he was regressing and we weren't that good defensively, but with him on the ice, we were still better than when he's not here at all. So
didn't Keith play like 30 minutes a night during that cup final?
Cup final, the whole playoffs, you basically played all 60 minutes.
But I think during the cup final, like every single game played 30, and like in the playoffs, there were a couple where he had like 27, 28. Still a lot. Don't get me wrong, but like I thought in the cup final, he went over 30 every game.
He did, and I think I can't remember because none of them went to overtime that I remember. But I think there was one he had it was like 39, 38 minutes, something like that. Like he was
ridiculous.
Well, there's a reason he won the Conn Smythe. Well, he got the game-winning goal too in the game 6. But anyway,
that helped.
I'm gonna walk down memory lane, but absolutely a defenseman. That to me, that's a no-brainer. But again, it was phrased for your favorite team. My favorite team has always had scoring, so it's.
Well, in the Wild have always been a very defensive-heavy team,
and that's what I was thinking about when I said forward.
Yeah, looking at the Wild this year, I could understand the push for wanting to bring in, especially if you can find a forward that would. I mean, that's why the Wild are reportedly interested in Giroux, the Minnesota connection as well, with former general manager Chuck Fletcher still in Philadelphia. Maybe he calls in a favor for his old club, retain some salary to keep the cap manageable. And suddenly you have a center who career is like 53 or 54% in the dot, who is a playmaker, play driving type of center with Matt Boldy and Kevin Fiala on the wings, given the Wild 3 very, very good lines you can roll with for the playoffs. That's a huge upgrade to that line.
Anyway,
it's tough. Wild this year, I get the argument for a forward. In general, I'm going defenseman. That's what I'm at.
That's
all right. So I went defenseman. Dan went defenseman. HP went forward. I have one more for you.
Hang on, before you do that, we've got a comment.
They're reminiscing about the. I love that.
David with the double dunk, dunking on Joel and dunking on Wisconsin as a state. Well played, David.
I don't take that as a dunk on me. I love that. Hey, that's you're right. Now we got one more.
One last would you rather. Let's go.
I thought of it. This is submitted by me. I did. Now I won't. Nice. Again, even though I was joking, I will not take credit. I was listening to ESPN 1000, and they had a similar "Would you rather" question come in for the Chicago show, so I liked it and just made it hockey. Would you rather be Would you rather be a all right NHL player in the league and win a couple cups at least, like 1, 2, or a little more than one, like 2, 3, something, but win cups, maybe be like a third liner at best though? Or would you rather be a Hall of Fame caliber player but never win a cup?
I want my name on the cup. Yep. That's a lot for me. I will take a third line checking role. I will take a fourth line enforcer role. Be the grocery stick player who separates and sits between the forwards and the defensemen because I'm playing 8 minutes a night. To get your name on the cup, that's the goal. That's why you go play the game. For me, that's a no-brainer.
Yep,
it's fair. I mean, it should be a no-brainer, but I sit there and I just kind of start analyzing, like, man, would love to be like that Hall of Fame player, gets all the I'm talking like Hall of Fame caliber player here, man. Like, you're getting all the endorsements, you're scoring a crap ton, winning all the hardware, and you're just making more money.
I get it. You're making more money.
You can't win a cup though.
I know, and you can't win a cup though. It's tough, and I mean, like, I think I'm looking at a list, and I'm curious if you guys can name, like, maybe give me like 3 of like the best players in the history of the league that have now retired and never had a cup.
Henrik Lundqvist.
Correct.
The Sedins.
Correct.
Marcel Dion.
That was the top one.
Yeah, I don't know how Marcel Dion never won a cup. That's beyond me.
Roberto Luongo is in there.
Luongo,
he never won
He never won a cup.
He and the Sedins got darn close.
Yeah, they got close.
Dale Hawerchuk.
Hawerchuk's up there.
Adam Oates never won a cup.
Really?
Matt Sundin never won a cup either. But
there's one. His whole career in Toronto, so that makes sense.
That's true. There's one you two are missing though.
What position?
Yeah.
He's forward. I'm not going to give you actual position. I'm just going to say forward.
That's fair.
I think I know who you're going with.
It's a player that victimized your franchise for a long time.
Jerome Iginla?
Yep. Iginla. Yep.
Yeah. So but with all that said, I'm with you.
Uh-oh.
What happened to him?
I have no idea what just happened. We lost Joel. This is new.
Wow.
So HP, we're going to segue out of this and end the Would You Rather segment a little early, I guess.
Right, I'm taking my name on the cup, by the way.
We'll see if Joel jumps back in. But yeah, all 3 of us in agreement there. Get your name on the cup. But while we're at it, let's go ahead and do 2 minutes for roughing. Since
he's gonna come back in and interrupt me right at a minute.
Since we're waiting on, well, no, what I can do is I can leave him in the dressing room,
back, yeah,
if you will. So he'll be in the background. We'll wait to bring him on the show. Yeah, I feel like this would happen while you're on the show.
I know.
Okay, so he did just come back in. But you know what? Let's leave Joel on mute for a minute.
Oh, is he in? He's back in.
Yeah, I can see him. He's here. He's in the dressing room.
That's so funny.
He's waving right now. You can't see him, but he's there. So with Joel gone, now we can all say, "Let's go wild." Yes, we can. This is
we say that anyway.
This is the part of the show where we talk about how the Joel disappeared from the show faster than the Blackhawks playoff chances this season.
There you go.
This is the part of the show where we mentioned that the Chicago Bears are so far away from winning a Super Bowl, and we can make ridiculous claims like Allen Robinson is going to leave in free agency, and Justin Fields
not the guy. Justin Fields is not the guy.
He's not the guy. Eberflus, their new head coach, is going to be a bust. They'll go 0-7. They'll be the first team to go 0-17. We can get away with saying that type of stuff now,
right?
Isn't that right, Joel?
Listen. You both.
That was so worth it.
Are horrendous people, and I hope you stub your toe on a Lego.
How do you stub your toe on a Lego?
Fuck off.
Oh.
I broke my F-bomb streak. Oh my god.
I thought you were going to do it with Rocky Wirtz earlier. I thought that was where
I thought that was coming.
I was somehow able to hold it in there. Well, but my bad. I accidentally closed out of my entire Chrome.
That would do it.
But
that little red X will get you.
Yeah, no, well, yes, but sorry, I don't want to interrupt the 2 minutes for roughing. By the way, Field is much better than Kirk Cousins. Now, continue.
Well,
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree.
We're going to own the North if Aaron Rodgers leaves. Now go.
All right, HP, 2 minutes for roughing. Are you ready to go?
I think so. I've done my research. I'm ready to go.
All right, take a swig of water. Do what you got to do, and we'll count you in here when you're ready.
Dry-throated.
Yeah, dry-throated. All right, let's do it.
In 3, 2, 1. Go.
This is a topic that has got me so heated recently. So I don't know anybody who knows Bally Sports or Sinclair. Why is it so goddamn hard to watch your local hockey team? Joel, you were talking about how you wanted to subscribe to ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus.
I learned the hard way that if you subscribe to ESPN Plus, you're not getting your home team.
Yep.
I paid $70 for the year to watch ESPN Plus. Now, granted, it's been great. I've been able to watch out-of-market games and games I would never be able to watch, but I can't watch my hometown Wild. And Sinclair has pulled Bally Sports North from Hulu TV, YouTube TV, Sling, all those. Now you have to pay, I can't remember what it is, 70, 80 bucks a month for direct TV stream. And then Sinclair is coming back going, oh, well, it's their fault. No, it's not. You're greedy. Don't lie. You're greedy. Just why is it so hard for people to watch their hometown team? The same thing happened in Denver with Altitude. Altitude didn't strike a deal with Comcast and DirecTV. So now the people in Denver can't even watch Colorado Avalanche. They're their own team because something with money. Who cares? Let people watch their hometown team. This is getting ridiculous. Why are blackouts a thing? If you want to grow the game, why is it so hard to watch your hometown team? People, it shouldn't be based on attendance. And I read an article today that said it wasn't. And this isn't just a hockey thing. This, like, Rob Manfred has said things about it. Baseball, because Bally Sports North has, like, the Twins. Bally, they have other teams. I think it's Bally and Sinclair has 42 of the 92 big three, NBA, MLB, and NHL. So why can't we watch our hometown teams? This is getting ridiculous. Put the money aside. Let fans watch their team. Just you're not growing the game. I mean, the NHL needs to probably step in and say something. This is ridiculous. Watch your team.
There we go.
I love that one. I hate the blackout. Chicago's just as bad
with ridiculous.
With Comcast, 100%. Oh my God, absolutely. If anything, I wanted to hear some. You didn't drop an F-bomb in that.
Didn't.
Now I'm the only one to drop an F-bomb, man.
And I mean, multiple.
Yeah, Justin Fields.
God, pal.
You're not that guy.
I mean, I've dropped multiple F-bombs to Dan in phone calls and text message. Like, why? Just.
It's funny too. Like, well, and I love how you mentioned Rob Manclown as Cubs' new All-Star pitcher. Marcus Stroman claimed him today or was it today or yesterday? Tweeted out Rob Manclown needs to figure it out. I love that. He's already very much welcome here in Wrigleyville with that comment alone.
He's welcome anywhere in baseball at this point, especially if they stay locked out.
I was so happy that we got him. Anyway, no, I'm with you. Now, the one thing I will unfortunately have to bring you back down to earth on is the whole growing the game thing. The networks don't give a shit at all about growing the game. But you're right.
I realize that.
Right, but that's the thing. That's the problem. They don't give a shit about growing the game. They just want money for the TV deal. They don't really care about the game growing. That's where what you mentioned at the end there of your rant is the NHL should step in and have a little more power there. And I'm sure they do have power there, but Bettman's all about making money too. So why the hell is he going to care?
Because they struck their new deals with ESPN and TNT, they were like, "This is growing the game. You can access more games," which is true. ESPN, I think, has done a pretty decent job. Both me and Dan were pretty skeptical about ESPN how they were going to do this year.
Honestly, I'm with you. I think they've done a decent job.
I think they have too. And the ESPN Plus thing, it's super easy to access. I can access it just about anywhere. And again, I watched a little bit of the Carolina game before we hopped on. The Capitals Blue Jackets game. They have all of them except your local team. Yeah. So I don't care about. I do care because I'm a hockey fan, but I don't care about all those other teams. I want to watch my team. They're playing right now, and I can't even watch them.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me, especially the ESPN Plus blackout one. Like, because I was like, oh yeah, like we've had. I think the Hawks have been on an ESPN Plus broadcast like 5 times this year so far, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna just go do something else because I can't watch it. Like, I have cable. Cable comes with my HOA where I live. Like, I have cable, but if it's only on ESPN Plus, it doesn't even matter. And it's like, what? What do you want me to do?
Right.
I'm not allowed to watch?
And the thing with ESPN Plus is you can access when you go and watch a game that's not like a specific ESPN Plus game, they're taking you to the regional network stream. So like when you watch like the Hawks, if I turn on the Hawks game, I can watch their home feed from, Comcast Sportsnet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm watching the Comcast Sportsnet feed. You can't tell me that's not making money for Comcast Sportsnet or Bally or whoever.
Oh, easily. That's traffic for them. Of course.
Right, exactly. And that's what I don't get is that's traffic. And why aren't you making a deal with Hulu, YouTube, Sling? That's traffic for you. I saw I know I'm still going here, but it's got me so heated. A stat that Bally Sports North specifically lost 50% of their viewership. Like that's 50% of their revenue.
Well, and it's been in particular with Bally an ongoing thing, even before the NHL switched over to ESPN Plus.
I have a stat here. Keep going, Dan. I got to find it.
Yeah, that's been a thing because it was the Twins baseball games were blacked out. That one I think did have to do with ticket revenue, but the Twins were so bad that nobody was going to the games. But then people would think, well, maybe I'll watch it, at home, have it on in the background or something. But I'm not going to pay, $100 for tickets and parking and have a beer and all that. Last year, a beer at Target Field was $17.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's a rant for another time.
Yeah, crap! I thought Wrigley was bad. Wow,
no, that's one for another. Or no, I take that back. It wasn't a beer. It was White Claw, which is also bad.
I think beer's 15.
Yeah, beer is like 15.
That's still bad, man. I thought 11 for a craft tall boy was bad.
The craft beers are like 15, and like the your taps, your Mick Goldens, and your whatever, those are more like 12. But still, like, it's terrible. That's a 2 minute for roughing. We'll go on at another point. Concession.
All right,
price.
I have my. It's not a stat. It's just a thing I read in this article by I think the Streamable wrote it, but it was where I got the Manfred and Adam Silver was in on it too because the Timberwolves are on Bally. And a bunch of the NBA teams. Let's see. The Sinclair Broadcast Group reported a loss of $3.2 billion in Q3 of 2020, including writing off part of the value of regional sports networks. Multiple reports have suggested that Diamond Sports Group, which is a subsidy of Sinclair, is close to bankruptcy, likely due to lackluster subscriber and carriage numbers. Yeah, because you took away your subscribers because half of them were streaming on Hulu, YouTube, TV, Sling. What do you expect is going to happen? You're going to lose money.
Some of those other sites that stream the games but aren't quite as legal per se.
I forgot to mention.
Not that we endorse that.
No.
Let's make that clear for anybody who's listening that we don't endorse such behaviors.
Streaming.
Well, not just streaming, but streaming from an unpaid offshore site that is maybe not playing fast and loose with the rules.
Yeah, no thanks, because if for nothing else, the quality sucks, so don't do it.
That's true.
I'd rather just pay money to have better quality at that point.
That's the thing is,
yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's probably a good place for us to end the show tonight. HP, thanks for joining us, buddy.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, man.
This was my podcast debut, so I've never done a podcast before. So what?
Awesome.
We have him in more.
Absolutely.
We'll get HP on here quite a bit more. In fact, we actually had. Let me go back through the comments here. Great guest tonight. Bring back
Michelle.
Michelle Bradley.
So that is you're already a hit, HP. We'll have you back on here soon. We'll see how Wednesday night picks go. If nothing else, if you're not joining us in person, we'll at least have you on the banner.
Sure, I'll send in some picks
leaderboard. So, but that is where we will close off for tonight. As always, you can find us on Noop Sports and the Sports 2.0 Network. Check us out on Twitter at PodSnipeCelly. HP, you want to give the people your Twitter handle real quick since we don't have it up on the screen?
Yes, I forgot to add it in. Twitter is at NateHP56, I believe. Yeah, NateHP56. Instagram is NateHP. And then also I have a Mullets Equipment Instagram page. That's at Mullets Equipment. I just show a little behind the scenes stuff. Not great at posting on really Instagram to be specific. Not great at posting, but occasionally you get a fun little look at it.
That's where he posts all the bailouts over the boards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get some of that video of you sprinting on the ice on that.
I know.
Page there too.
I don't know if they saved it or not.
Hi, I'm HP. Welcome to Jackass.
There we go. Note going forward, we are going to change our show times going forward. We'll have some more information on that in the next day or two here. But we may have some changes to the show schedule coming up. In the meantime, though, as a reminder, you can always catch us on demand on Spotify and on iTunes. During the week when we do our live streams, we are live on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Search the Sports 2.0 Network for any of those, and at PodSnipeCelly if you're streaming on Twitter. But that is it for tonight's show. For HP, for Joel, my name is Dan. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Kirk Cousins sucks.